How you doing? Let's get this show on the road, huh?
This week on Hooligan Nation, if you are a rock soldier, stay tuned for an Ace-Centric episode filled with nuggets and tidbits. Cause you got,
Nothing to lose.
and don't forget,
Don't ever forget.
if the devil wants to play his card game now,
He's gonna play without an ace.
in his deck.
You wanted the best? Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking KISS. Welcome back to Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. I am Anthony.
I am Rocco.
Yeah, I guess you are. This week, we're going full Ace-Centric for the podcast. We are going to talk about Ace's 1987 Frehleys Comet album. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Little
couldn't wait
Rocky, are you excited?
I'm very excited because I couldn't wait back in the day when it was coming out.
But before that, do you have anything that you'd like to add to our last episode recap about the Gene Simmons show?
It's a great memory, and I can't wait to go see him again.
I put this in here because I have a lot to say, because I do a lot of research on YouTube and on other podcasts to see what's going on, what's in current event. And we must be two idiots because everybody else is killing them. Bad reviews, killing the set list, which,
The
I
set
can
list you're gonna have it's what he wants to put out there. You're gonna have people who are gonna critique that. That goes without saying.
but just killing him. People saying he's a terrible front man. He's not a front man. Look, I'll
Those
agree.
people don't know what the hell they're talking about because that man was meant to entertain. He entertained the hell out of me. I'll tell you that.
But I don't know if he's a quote unquote professional front man. And they make it out. I mean, I guess every show is a little different, but
Hmm.
everybody talks about, oh my God, he can't shut up. All he does is talk. I mean,
I
he
didn't take it
talked
that
a
way.
little more than I probably would have liked, but I didn't think it took away from anything.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
I think that's a preference thing. I mean, for me personally, I appreciated the times that he did pause. I like all the music and everything was great, and the musicians in his band are phenomenal. So I appreciated all that. But when he would stop and he would talk to me, that's like him bonding with the fans. Like you, to me as a performer, he was enjoying what he was doing and he was bonding with the fan. I actually consider that like a bonus to me.
I don't know if I consider it a bonus. I don't know that I don't consider it a bonus either. What I took it as is him pacing his
That could
75-year
be that
old
too.
self.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I took it as. But getting killed, look, and some of the things that he got killed for, I killed him for.
Yeah,
That
but all these years, don't you feel like the other aspect of Gene, Paul, Peter, Ace, and Vinny, for that matter, don't you feel after following them for this many years, you kind of feel like you know them? So it's almost like somebody you know on stage, kind of like pausing and talking to you too. Like I said, I found it charming.
he got killed for the amount of cover songs, which I have to admit I agree with.
For just as many people that didn't like him doing Ace of Spades and the Beatles song that he did, and like all these things, there's that many people who are like, wow, that's cool. He actually did something out of the norm, and he did tried something. I'm not saying I prefer that, but I mean, some of those people are like, wow, that's really cool that he was able to do that. Whereas me and you would want him to do Saint and Sinner and Domino, and yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Different
understand.
strokes.
Like I was saying, I think I think the cover song part, I think it's a legitimate complaint if you need to complain. Uh, the set list, Gene, I guess Gene's playing what he wants to play. Would I have written up a set list differently? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
thought
deny
it
that.
was cool that he includes bringing people up in the crowd. I didn't feel like it took away from anything. He put the kid on the drums. Kid played kid played the song. It was
Yeah,
good. I don't care who he puts up there as long as they can back him good.
Hmm,
There's all kinds of things running around YouTube and around the internet.
it's a shame.
And I don't know whether it's a clickbait thing or whether these people really think this, but some of these things I watch and I'm like, man, maybe me and you are clueless. Like, we thought it was good. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't 100% the way I wanted it or what I wanted.
I
But
tell you what, it may be willing to spend to go see him again.
sure, yeah, I think I said it during that episode. I would
Hmm.
do that. We say this all the time. Everybody's opinions are different. There's really no wrong opinion or right opinion. I just didn't get that take from the show. Yes, he does tell a lot of stories. No, I do not want to hear House of Pain from Van Halen. And for that matter, I don't want to hear a Beatles song. But it doesn't change the fact that he gets a pass on the Beatles song. And no, I don't want to hear Ace of Spades either. But I'm also not Gene Simmons. He is.
And
And
everybody has their preferences. I would rather have heard him do Saint and Sinner. There's other songs I would rather have had him do, if I'm being honest. But my number one shock that I think was your shock and Angel's shock was we walk in, we're looking all around, and the first thing you do before you get comfortable to watch the opening act is, you know what, I want to buy a shirt. Let me get one of Gene's shirts. No merch.
yeah,
For this money grab guy to not have any merch there, that still shocks me.
lot of rumors running around about no merch, and that none of them make any sense. There was somebody out there in YouTube land, podcast land, TV land, whatever land you want to call it. Somebody brought up, well, maybe because Pop House owns the rights. No, Gene's got his own website. Gene's got his face on everything he can put it on. I don't really have an answer about the merch. I don't
Yeah.
know that we're ever going to have an answer, but I can say it is far out of his personality
Yeah,
not to sell something that he can sell.
absolutely. Maximize capitalist, maximize every opportunity. That's what he's all about.
News. You got any news?
Yes, it's a small little snippet, and it is about Kiss Storms Vegas. On blabbermouth.net, you can read the whole interview. It's from Gene Schmidt of Noise in the Attic. This was on May 18th, 2025. Gene says Ace and Peter are welcome to appear at Kiss Storms Vegas, November 14th through 16th. It's going to be pretty much up to them. But he did make reference after saying that in the article that they were invited on MSG, but they said no because they want this, they want that, they want this, they want that if they're going to be there. So you can have a lot of takes. The MSG thing is a hotbed of comments either way. But when it comes to Kiss Storms Vegas, he made a blanket statement basically saying that Gene and Paul, I mean that Peter and Ace are welcome to be part of it.
Yep, I've heard this before. Anything's possible. Blah 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 blah. Look, we talked about this before we went on camera.
I'm trying to reel them in.
I don't know where I stand with this. We could do a 3-hour episode, and I'm not sure that I'd be any closer. Ace and Peter, they don't want this and that. They want money. They want to be paid. I don't know what to think about that because you can bet your ass that Paul and Gene are being paid. I think where the problem may come in is when Ace and Peter want to be paid the same as Gene and Paul. They're not the same. If Ace and Peter in both of their cases, I mean, Ace's album has been out for a little over a year, but he does have something to promote for Kiss Storms Vegas if he went. And that's that album that, by the way, I think is a very good album. And Peter will have something to promote if his album does come out in the fall. But they should be compensated because I'm pretty sure Sebastian Bach isn't coming there for free. Tommy Thayer isn't going there for free. Black and Blue, I'm pretty sure that the Kiss cover bands aren't going there for free either. So in that case, you have to compensate Ace and Peter, and who knows, because we don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that know, we're just not two of them. So who knows if they offer them an appearance fee, if they're undercutting them for the appearance fee. I believe that Ace said something about wanting $200 or $250,000 to appear at MSG. Look, I love you, Ace, but that sounds like crazy money to me. Like, you're gonna slide over and get paid $250,000 to get up on stage to play what, two songs?
Hmm.
No, I wouldn't pay it either.
Again, the money ties to emotional baggage, and it's like it's not even about the money. Sometimes it's about like how just jump up and have some fun with us instead of. Again, there's a million different takes. I go back and forth too. I don't have a definite take
Mhm.
on it either. I go back
Yeah,
and forth.
I
I don't
mean,
have one specific element that I blame.
someday, maybe we can get our shit together enough to maybe do an episode on it. But I can tell you right now, I'm nowhere near. I just have no clue where I stand on it.
Right. And listen, hooligans, if you want to add some substance in comments, definitely feel free to give your take and what you think. Cause I think it's pretty safe to say at some point when we figure out how we want to do it, it's definitely going to be an episode because it's definitely worthy of an episode.
Yeah, shit. I think it's probably worthy of a series of
Mm.
episodes. I'm not sure you could even do that in one episode. You could probably discuss them selling the rights to the makeup for an entire episode and what a huge disastrous mistake that was.
I think you like this take. It's probably MSG is probably the icing on the cake of the four of their drama.
I would say uh, the five of them,
Five,
honestly.
Bruce. Yeah. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Bruce. You're right.
because leaving Bruce out.
Well,
Uh,
I don't kid. You know what? And you're right. You're 100% right. But the other thing about it is when I think of Bruce, I don't think of drama.
I don't think it was Bruce's drama, but he was
He was
sucked
part of
into
it.
the
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah. True.
Which, by the way, credit to you. Good segue, as always.
Oh, cool.
Because we're gonna slide right into my new segment, which does have a part in this, and that is Paul Stanley on Chris Jericho's podcast, which he was on. I think he was on like a month or two ago, but for whatever reason, and we don't know this, but we think that Jericho must have some exclusive contract with someone because his podcasts don't come out till like a month later on YouTube.
But we've been waiting for it.
We have been, and it. I can't tell you it was really interesting because it wasn't. I love Jericho, but he's not gonna push and poke Paul to get answers to things like maybe we would.
Yeah, it's two buddies having a conversation, basically.
Correct. But there were a couple good things in it. One thing I can say absolutely for sure, this is the first thing that came to my head, is Paul is the yin and Gene is the yang. And what I mean by that is, as Jericho asks him the questions, Paul is very calculated and thoughtful with the answers. Gene, not so much. Gene just says it and deals with the fallout. Uh, I don't think there's any major news that comes out of this. Jericho did ask about other members at MSG, and Paul went. It was actually funny because as I'm watching this podcast, Paul says, "Well, what did you want us to do? Put up a video of past members?" And my first
Yep.
thought was, "Yep,
Yep.
yeah,
Me too.
that would have been good enough." And then he says, "What should we have had? Big posters of them on the side of the stage?" And I went,
Yep.
"Yeah, that would have been
Yeah. Good.
okay."
Good idea, Paul. Yeah, I like it.
Uh, he wasn't going for it. He
Listen, I
he
love Paul, and he's the. I told you he's the glue. In my opinion, he's the glue, and I love Paul. But sometimes he's got to get past his own self and realize you need to pay homage to everything that ever was part of the band. And if that means you have to show a little video to pay tribute, that means you need to propose. Yeah, if you thought about it, maybe you regret that you didn't do it.
I don't think Paul or Gene regret a thing.
And that annoys me. I'll be honest. I love these guys, but that annoys me. I mean, who cares? You know, who cares? But I'm just saying, I would imagine there's quite a few KISS fans like me that it annoys them because, you know, I value every member that's been in this band, and paying a little respect for them doesn't hurt anybody. You're not paying them anything. What did it hurt? What would it have hurt?
You have a very good point. I don't know where I stand on this. This goes along with what we were talking about before. I just don't know where I stand on this. I mean, Paul, in this interview, Paul makes mention of never looking back, always looking forward. You know, maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but he at one point he says something about not, I don't think he was specific with Ace and Peter, but he says that people were asked to come up, but we could not satisfy their needs. Now, I could be completely wrong and not know anything about what I'm talking about. Trust me, I could get people to line up and tell you that, and one is ready to get lined up. But I think if you fly Bruce in and you put him up in a hotel, I think Bruce, maybe for a minimal appearance fee, gets out on stage both nights at MSG, takes a bow, plays a song. The crowd gives Gene and Paul a pass on Ace and Peter not being there, I think. You put a little video montage up of Eric Carr, and you sprinkle in a couple shots of Mark St. John, maybe, which you probably don't need to do, and the crowd is happy.
Yeah, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't cost them anything.
For what people paid to go to one of those two last shows, yeah, I think they might have owed them a little more than what they did. Now, with that being said, Kiss Storms Vegas is very much a second chance.
That's good. That's a good point.
Do they fix it, or do they continue to do what they do?
Listen, I respect Paul and Gene for what they do, and they have every right to do it the way they want to do it. But over and over again, they get hypocritical a lot, because over and over again, it's all about the fans. It's all about the fans. If you put a lie detector on both of them and they're asked, do you think your fans would be disapprove you putting montages on there and little clips of your history? I'm going to go into the tumbleweed, not just weeds, tumbleweeds. It's like baseball completely eliminating the steroid era. You can't tell the story of baseball without those people. You can't tell history without those people. So as much as you want to throw a little crumb once in a while and say how valuable they were, and we're not here without the original four and all these other layers, at the end of the day, they made a mistake. And maybe not to them, but in honoring their fans, they made a mistake by not doing some kind of a tribute towards everybody that was involved. It takes a village.
I did not, by any means, plan to stick up for Paul or Gene. And I don't even know that this qualifies as sticking up for either one of them. But during this interview with Jericho, Paul does very much give Ace and Peter a lot of credit for their part in the band. It's lip service, though. And I'm not trying to blame Paul or Gene for it, because I don't know enough to blame them. If Ace wants $250,000 to show up and plug in and play 2 songs at MSG, no, I think if I'm Paul and Gene, I'd tell them beat it.
But I'd be perfectly happy as a fan getting my. You want to feel like that you want to be able to see that they at least put some attention towards everything that's transpired through the years. Like that, every fan of any kind of genre wants that, right? Because if you go through the entire ride with them, there were other members on that roller coaster.
Sure, 5 minutes. I don't know what it is, but 5 minutes. How about Paul walks up and, you know, announces all the past members of the band.
Right.
A video montage plays in the in the back, or like Wasp, uh, when they went out and did their encore. I think it was Wild Child. They put the video for Wild Child up on the screen while they sang the song live. Now, how I took that was Blackie was giving credit to Chris Holmes specifically, who
Right.
they can't stand each other,
Right.
but was giving him credit. And the other two guys that were in the band, Randy Piper and now the other guy leaves me, but those are the members of Wasp when they were at their biggest. Like that's how I took it. So, you know, maybe play a video montage. I don't know, do something.
But
Do the opposite of what they actually did.
right. I mean,
And November is going to be their chance to make that right, possibly, and it's going to be interesting to
and you know
see.
what? In some ways, honestly, it's probably more. Maybe it's even more of an appropriate place because it's all about the Kiss Army, right? But again, I take it for good. I take this band good and bad, music good, and some that's not so good. I take it and I accept it as everything. But at the same time, I also can call them out when I see something I don't like that they do.
That's part of being a Kiss fan, I think. How many times do I have to say in one lifetime? You cannot satisfy Kiss fans. All we do is complain. And I'm right there with you. That's all we do is complain. But when you're Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, I think part of your job is to try to do everything the right way to minimize the complaints.
Right. And
Like,
listen, I don't give them a pass for one reason and one reason only. You know your fans, you know what they want to see, you know how much extra they'd appreciate being at that last show with all that other stuff and all that other stuff. And expense wise, I don't think it would have been that much more of an expense. That's just I'm done with my opinion on that. That's where I stand on that.
I, you know, it's an internal struggle with me, so I don't really have an answer. That the answer to me is do better.
Right.
Do better. I mean, you guys, you did great. You did great for 50 years. You didn't make all the right moves. You've made mistakes before. You seem to right the ship every time you desperately have to. I think that this is a big, big problem with the KISS Army, that the touring band ended with not even a mention of Ace, Peter, Bruce, Eric Carr. Look, Mark St. John had a cold cup of coffee, but he still counts.
Right.
And Vinny's an enigma. The 50-year-old me, which is a lot different than the 30-year-old me, the 50-year-old me says be the bigger person and give Vinny the credit that he deserves. You don't have to say he's a nice guy. Yes, I understand that. I think the last count was he sued Kiss 14 times and lost 14 times. Be the bigger person. It's like Ace and Peter, you know. I hate to be the person that has to tell Ace and Peter this, but you're not equal to Paul and Gene. You quit. You quit. You sold shit you shouldn't have sold. Your mistake. You're not going to be equal. From that moment on, you were never going to be equal. It's just that simple.
Right.
So you either want to be on the team and you know you're going to be a bench player, or you don't want to be on the team anymore. But you're not going to play quarterback just because you're willing to come back in the band. Now, with that being said, you got to compensate these people, especially if you're compensating everyone else. You know, I don't think Bruce is going to Vegas and going to play for free. If he is, good for him. And if I find that out, I'll go on Bruce's website and I'll spend some money to help compensate him. But I don't think he's working for free. So don't expect Ace or Peter to show up for free. With that being said, we're not going to pay him millions of dollars because they want to be paid equal to what Paul and Gene get paid, because there is no equality with that. We're crazy in society today with equal and equality, and you get what you earn. You don't get it handed to you. God knows if we got it handed to us, we'd have 15,000 subscribers right now
Mm.
and we'd be, famous. No, you got to work for it, kids.
Right.
So, and when you give it up and whatever you lose by giving it up, you're not going to get it back because there's a dollar value on it. I got one other thing. Folks, if you're listening or watching this, write this name down. Rezi Orenji. Rezi Orenji is a YouTube content creator. I will put a link in the description below as long as I remember, so you can get to his page. He is, these are my words, an anime avatar faceless channel. This guy is artistic and talented. His videos are as much fun to watch as they are informative to listen to. About 2 years ago, I found this guy. He did a series that is titled The Fall of KISS. It's about 8 hours long, broken up into 3 episodes. And folks, this is a deep dive of all deep dives. He left no stone unturned. It is a great, great, I guess the best way to call it is a documentary. And he is currently in the middle of releasing a deep dive into the history of hair metal. And I'm probably about 1 episode in, and usually his episodes are between 2.5 and 4 hours long. So, like, you got to strap yourself in. And let me tell you, this is good stuff. So, check out his channel. Like I said, I'll put the links in the description below. And one more time, it's Rezi or Renji, and it is a faceless channel. So be prepared for an odd looking anime character. Don't just blow it off and get off of it. Give the guy like a half hour in the first documentary that you watch. Trust me, it's worth it. Music we're listening to.
Yeah, I got one thing. It's one song, but it's starting me to eventually dive into it. I was watching Bruce Kulick's had something on YouTube, and I never heard this song, so I'm definitely late to the party. It's probably a lot of Kiss fans probably have already heard this a long time ago. But Bruce's band Union from back in the day, he did a song called "Dear Friend." And it's all about Eric Carr. And I thought it was very well written. He also sings the song. It's a really good tune, and it's something I never heard before. And Union's on my bucket list to start listening to some of that stuff because I never did, and I love Bruce, but I never did. So that's going to be something I'm going to continue diving into their catalog. But that song in particular, Kiss fans, if you've not listened to it, you're going to want to, especially if you were a fan of Eric Carr, because it's very poetic and it's a well written song, and it's also a well sang song by Bruce.
This week's poll question is, when did you first get into Kiss? The choices were the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Now, before anybody wonders why the hell did we do a poll about this, I wanted to do this poll because I thought it would be cool to figure out what our demographic is, because we've been talking about demographics for the last couple episodes. So this poll really tells us more about our audience than it does anything else. But as usual, I found the results kind of interesting. Father Rocco.
I would say majority of our listeners are 70s and 80s.
As always, for those that have just dropped in for the first time, our polls go up on our community tab on YouTube, and they go up on our Facebook group, Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. We grow every day on the Facebook group. So for those that have joined the Facebook group, thank you.
Thank you.
And for those that haven't yet, what the hell are you waiting for? We're having loads of fun over there. Well,
Hop on
maybe not
board.
loads, but we're having some fun over there. So we cooked this one for 6 days, I believe. So it is well cooked. And every time we do a poll, we seem to get more votes and more votes. So we're trending in the right direction, which is a great thing. So thank you, everyone out there, for participating in the polls. And here we go. Coming in at 0%, the 90s. So at least
Yeah,
for our audience,
yeah,
there
that's what I'd
wasn't
expect.
many. The 2000s came in at 12%. The 80s came in at 33%, and the 70s came in at 55%.
Wow. Okay. I thought the 70s and 80s would be a little closer, but that's cool. I kind of feel like we have a lot of. To me, what that tells me is we have a lot of hardcore Kiss fans in our Hooligan Nation.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm not sure if you're not a hardcore Kiss fan, why the hell you would take an hour out of your day to watch two idiots talk about Kiss.
Yeah, right after I
My
said it, I
own
was
take.
kind of going to try to like bring it back, but it was already out there.
Yeah, that's all right. No. So once again, thank you for everybody for participating, and we do have a new poll up. So if you haven't voted on that, and I can't tell you what the poll is because we record a couple weeks ahead of when it comes out. We put a poll up usually Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of every week. All right, little Rocky, are you ready?
I'm ready to roll.
Did you stretch? You're warmed up?
I'm ready to go.
All right. Today, we're going to review
Beethoven's Fifth.
No. No, Ace. We're not going to review Beethoven's Fifth. We are going to review Ace's 1987 masterful return, his Frehleys Comet album.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
The album was released April 27th, 1987. It was recorded at Right Track Recording in New York City, New York. Master Sound, Astoria. Sound Ideas Studio in New York City. And Bear Track Studio in Suffern, New York. It's 41 minutes and 31 seconds long. The label was Atlantic and Megaforce Records. Produced by Eddie Kramer, Ace Frehley, and John Zazula. And for those of you that don't know who John Zazula is, he was the head of Megaforce Records. And for those of you that don't know who Eddie Kramer is, do better. Do better, because Eddie Kramer is the godfather. 2 singles were released. Into the Night was the lead single, and Rock Soldiers was the follow-up single. Everybody that watches the show knows that we're going to get to my favorite part, which is 2 videos that were made, which I think were 2 great videos. First video was Into the Night, which I think is a fantastic song, fantastic idea for a single. Probably should have been the second single. They probably should have led with Rock Soldiers, but it is what it is, and was definitely a fantastic video. And Rock Soldiers, there's just nothing bad to say about the song, the single, the video. It's fantastic. It's got everything you might want in an Ace Frehley video. As far as who plays on the record, of course, Ace plays lead and rhythm guitars, lead and backing vocals. Todd Howarth plays rhythm and lead guitars, keyboards, lead and backing vocals. John Regan plays bass and backing vocals. And the Fig, Anton Fig, plays drums and percussion. And without further ado, because I had French fries lately, so we'll start speaking French. We will get to these songs, Curly.
Here we go. All right. So you had mentioned the first song on the album. It's Rock Soldiers. Ace does the writing with Chip Taylor. And he also does the vocals. You said a lot. You said a mouthful about Rock Soldiers before. I love this song. It's a great story the way he sings it. It's well put together, great production on it. I love the riff throughout, like all throughout the whole song. That riff is there, and I love it. And probably the catalyst that really gets this whole song going is an awesome drum intro.
It is. I think this is a great comeback song. It is a great storytelling song. For anybody that is an Ace fan, there's a whole lot of truth in this song. Ace sounds great. The guitar work is also great. And this song has what I think is one of the best lyrics ever in a song. Do you know what that is?
Oh man, there's so DeLorean. There's so many good lines in this song.
If the devil wants to play his card game now, he's gonna have to play without an ace in his deck.
That's right. Okay.
Songwriters Hall of Fame material right there.
Oh, Ace is back, and he told you so. It's pretty good too.
It's a great song.
It's a great song. It really is a great song.
This album should have been so much bigger than it was. They didn't even get it. It did not get the gold status. It probably is there now, but it should have been by far a gold record. And this is I'm big on album openers. This is a great album opener.
That nails it. That definitely nails it for album opener.
The whole thing about this, there's nothing bad about the song.
I agree. Before I go to the second song, I just want to I should have said it before the first song. One thing about we talked about Mystique, and we always talk about, when you talk about Kiss, you can't go without adding that word sometimes. And we talked about this before. Like as a kid, I didn't see Ace, and I remember your brother was the first one that probably mentioned that Frehleys Comet is coming out, and Ace is going to be out there. We didn't see him without makeup, and I just remember the suspense of waiting for this album to come out, and then seeing the video Into the Night, and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. Like it lived up to all that hype and the mystique. It lived up to it. I really felt like this, as we go through in the album too with the songs, I really felt like Ace knocked it through the park. Like if this was his follow-up album as a solo artist to the solo album with Kiss, I felt like he completely nailed it.
Which brings me to a little nugget and tidbit. And you know how much we love nuggets and tidbits here.
Absolutely.
I found out about this album. I believe Eddie Trunk still has this radio show. I can't remember off the top of my head what station it is in New York, but it's 104.3, or it used to be 104.3. And he used to do this Friday night radio show. And I used to listen to it religiously, really religiously. And what we didn't know at the time, but we know now, is Eddie Trunk, who did not know Ace, was not friends with Ace. Eddie Trunk gets hired by Megaforce Records, which it sounds so big. Megaforce Records at the time was run out of John Zazula's house. It had 4 employees, including Eddie Trunk. Eddie Trunk had worked at a record store, and John Zazula came in and offered him a job as an A&R guy. And Eddie Trunk's first signing was to find Ace, to figure out whether Ace had his life together enough to sign him, and then to sign him. And Eddie Trunk signed him to Megaforce and put him on the radio show. And I know it's on YouTube because I've listened to it before. It is the funniest 30 seconds, and you have to take yourself back to what was probably 1980 1986 at the time when when he was on the radio show. He introduces Ace, and Ace uses a fake voice. And you have to remember, the internet wasn't there. You weren't readily able to see celebrities or hear their voices. Or and anyway, Ace uses this fake voice for maybe 15, 20 seconds. And I was a little kid. I mean, in my defense, I was like maybe 12. I thought that was Ace's voice, and I was like, how's that guy sound like that and sing shock me the way he does? And anyway, and I don't think there's anywhere in the interview where Eddie Trunk even alludes to the fact that he signed him, or even that he worked for Megaforce. I, I don't remember many details about the interview, but it's out there. It's on YouTube, or it was as of like 6 months ago. And it's interesting. And the whole story, and Eddie Trunk has told the story in interviews before, how he signed him, and the questions, and the fact that nobody really wanted to sign Ace because he was such a train wreck the prior 5 years or so. And Eddie Trunk, being a huge KISS fan, he went out there and went after what was probably the biggest catch of his career to him, because of how big a KISS fan he was. And he got Ace to sign with Megaforce. They bring Eddie Kramer in, which is a slam dunk, matching up Eddie Kramer and Ace Frehley, in my opinion. And they make this album, and you can go on now. I'm done.
Okay, no, that's good stuff. All right, so the next song on the album is called Breakout. Ace Frehley, Eric Carr, and Richie Scarlett do the writing, and Todd Harworth does the singing, and it's really good. And also another little nugget about that is this is also uh, pretty much the car jam from what you call it, on Revenge, right? It's on Revenge, car jam.
It is on Revenge,
Yeah,
yes, but it is
it's
Car Jam 81.
right.
They recorded that, the basic version, back in 1981.
A cool part of the song that I like the yelling and the bongos in the beginning when it starts out the song.
Oh, now you like bongos.
Well, I go back and forth.
Oh, so when Ace puts bongos in a song, it's okay, but when Gene puts bongos in a song, he ruined it.
Well, it works better
Uh,
for Ace. It works
Oh,
better with Ace's voice.
oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, we reference it's the car jam. Basically, the whole song, to me, is like a jamming song. You got and you can't get that out of your head. But I like this, the first time that you hear, or I had heard Todd Harworth's voice, and listening to it again, I've always liked his voice, and I felt like he was a very good choice for Ace to have on some of these songs.
I got another tidbit and another nugget. I'm just filled with tidbits and
Bring it,
nuggets today.
bring it. You know what? We have gone quite a while without some nuggets and tidbits.
For those that haven't seen this, I love Todd Howarth. I do. I thought he was a great addition to Frehleys Comet. I was kind of sad to see him go, but there is a video out there. It is on YouTube, from around 1985, with Richie Scarlett singing leads on Breakout. It's Anton Fig, Richie Scarlett, Ace Frehley, and I can't remember who the bass player was at the time, but I'd never heard of him, so I don't know who he is. And it is I think it's a better version of the song. I like Richie singing it better. It was recorded at SIR Studios. I don't know what it was recorded for. I don't know much history about the video, but it is out there on YouTube, and it is very good. And I do like the song. I like both versions of the song.
Mm.
One of the things that I like more than anything else is I get the feeling that Anton Fig and Ace are just so in sync on this song. The guitars and the drums play so well together on this song. He's two for
I'm with
two.
you there.
It's two great songs.
The next one is the second video and single, Into the Night. Russ Ballard is the writer. And Fraley does the Ace does the singing. I love this song. It's one of my favorite Ace songs of all time. I love his voice in it. I love the video. This is the video where I first seen Ace without makeup, and you're just seeing the band event, the band vibe, and him out there. I love the video, and the music is great. It's one of my favorite Ace songs all time. It's a very well produced song. Um, yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. It's definitely one of my favorite Ace songs.
3 for 3. More nuggets, more tidbits. Do you know what the historical significance of this song is?
No.
Do you know the historical significance of who wrote this song? Russ Ballard wrote New York Groove.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't put that together.
Russ Ballard also wrote God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Okay. That I mean I know we've covered his name before, but I wasn't putting two and two together.
Something about Ace Frehley, Russ Ballard with Eddie Kramer that just does it for me. This is by far one of my favorite Ace songs. I have so many questions when it comes to this song that I'm probably never going to get answered. I will tell you people that don't have Sirius XM or don't like Eddie Trunk or don't listen, whatever. Ace is on Eddie Trunk's show probably sometimes 3-4 times a year. And every time he goes on the show, I call up and I try to get on because I love this song. And I got to ask Ace, why do you not play this song live? I have gone through Setlist FM. Yes, I have done this because I'm that kind of tart. He has not played this song live that I can see since 1988. And I can't figure out why. I think this is a great song.
It is.
Russ Ballard is, and Russ Ballard didn't just write for KISS and Ace Frehley. He's written for tons and tons of people. By the way, Eddie Trunk just interviewed Russ Ballard a week or two ago, if anybody's interested in that.
Cool.
It's such a perfect song for the time. Should have been a bigger single. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why Ace doesn't play this song live. I just think it's an amazing song. It's damn near a perfect Ace Frehley song to me.
Yeah, I'll back you 100%. No, I'll back you on that, at least from my perspective too.
I love the video. We're getting into goofy places. I love the video. I love the lightning bolt guitar that Ace, I do know he did not
That's
like the
right.
way it sounded.
Right there. That's right
Yeah,
there.
I love that guitar. There's two versions of that guitar. There's a black with white and there's a white with black. And I believe there's a black with the red also. He signed some kind of deal. I think it's a Washburn. And he hated the way that guitar sounded, so he stopped using it about 1988.
Cool look though.
Yeah, I love just everything about it. And again, you said it was the whole mystique.
Yeah, big time.
That video came out, and that is like the first unmasked sighting of Ace Frehley.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. Yeah, it was impactful. Absolutely. And to back that, I think it's a great song.
It is. All right. That brings us to our next song, Something Moved. Todd Harwood does the writing and the singing on this song. It's a cool tune. I like the vocal. It's got a nice groove to it. I don't have a lot to say about the song, but I do like it. I actually really like his voice.
Yeah, I don't have any tidbits or nuggets for this, but it is another good song. It's a shame Todd and Ace should have worked better than they did. This was such a complete band with great musicians, and they sound like they have an edge. The song structures are all incredible. Eddie Kramer and Ace just belonged working together. And one of the things that I liked about Todd Howard's vocals is it reminded me a little bit of Peter Criss. He had that raspy kind of voice, And on an album, it almost has the feel like you get Ace Frehley and Peter Criss on an album. Almost. And for the times, a lot of these songs, I guess people would say they're dated. You put this album on, and songs like Into the Night, Breakout, Something Moved, and ones that we haven't gotten to yet, you really know they come from the mid 80s.
Yeah, I agree with
Like
that.
we're neck deep into the hair metal genre.
All I was going to say is Ace had a lot of pressure on him for this album.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I don't think it's just Ace. I think Eddie Kramer had a lot of pressure on him, because I think he was brought in there to corral Ace. And I know what it's like to try to corral you. It had to be harder for Eddie Kramer to corral Ace, but they did. I think they did a great job. I give credit for John Zazula and I think 22-year-old Eddie Trunk for taking a huge risk. And then I give credit for Eddie Kramer coming in and knowing that he had to corral Ace and make the best album that he could. And then you got to give credit to Ace for surrounding himself with the best musicians that he could. He went out there and got Anton Fig, who, for those that don't know, Anton was already working on David Letterman's TV show, which is why he only made studio records with Ace and never went out on tour. But Anton Fig's a great drummer.
All right, so the next song we got is "We Got Your Rock." Ace Frehley and Marty Coopersmith do the writing. Ace does the singing. This is actually one of my favorite songs on the album. It's a really cool tune. I love the guitar rhythm throughout, and it really good, really great guitar work in this song a lot.
Not my favorite song, not my favorite song on this record, but it's still a good song. Has a great chorus. Anton Fig is such a good drummer with a booming drum sound. I love the solo in this song. It's just a good, solid Ace Frehley song. It's well produced. It's well mixed. And how do you go? It's got good songwriting and you got great musicians backing you up. And you have a determined and motivated Ace Frehley, which is never a bad thing.
All right, so next you got "Love Me Right." I like the riff, I like the guitaring, and I like the drum blend in the beginning. Um, it's a good tune. I like it. It's a nice groove. It's nothing that is if we do the middle of the road, I would say this is a middle of the road Ace song, but it's got a nice groove to it.
So Love Me Right is probably my least favorite song in this album. Not sure this is a song Ace should be singing, but Ace's guitar work definitely saves the song in a lot of ways. You call it middle of the road. It's fighting for my least favorite song on this record, but it's still not terrible. But it's kind of got the feel of
I like the
not alternative, but the I can't remember.
It's got a
like
different flavor. It could pass for like, especially the beginning, could pass for like an alternative feel. It's got
no, the voice, the singing on it. I don't know why it just reminds me of like flock of seagulls.
The next song we got is "Calling to You." Ace Frehley, Todd Harworth, Kevin Russell, and Jim McCarthy do the writing. Todd Harworth does the singing. It's a good song. It's got good chorus. I like the chorus in it. Again, I gotta go back to Todd Harworth. I like his voice. Like, I think I remember when I first listened to Frehleys Comet back in the day, I was a little disappointed that Ace wasn't the only one singing. I definitely remember that because I was like, Ace has his own flavor of singing. You know what I mean? So I thought I would dislike some of the songs that he didn't sing, and I definitely like Todd Harworth's voice. So I thought the vocals carried this song. Ace has some good solos in it.
It's a dated song to me. It's another song that comes from the times. It's very hair metal like to me.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
But I think it's a great song. Todd had such a good voice, and all of these songs are structured and produced so well.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can improve on what they did here.
yeah.
It's the song. That's the one thing I'll say about all of these songs on this album is they are done to the best that they could be done. They're they're there's nothing they no one left anything on the table.
It's a well produced album. Like we talked about the drumming too. Like you hear distinctly the drums. You don't really you hear all the different instruments really clear. The clarity is very well done, produced in this album.
This drum sound to me is second only to Creatures of the Night. And I'm
That's
betting
actually a
that
pretty decent comparison, but I never thought about it until listening to this. But the drums are really good in this.
yeah, I'm betting Eddie Kramer was going for the Creatures of the Night drum sound because it's very similar.
All right, so the next song we got is Dolls. Ace Frehley does the singing and he does the writing. To me, I put this song on par with 2000 Man. It's a goofball song, but I like it a lot. It's definitely very cheesy, and I could see if you didn't like it, but to me, I look at it like 2000 Man's kind of a goofball song too, and I love that song. So it's definitely on par with that song to me.
I'm not a huge fan of 2000 Man, and I'm not a huge fan of Dolls. This to me is just a bad idea. Funny enough, back in 1987, I loved this song. I
I like it
loved
for
it.
entertainment value.
I mean, the best part of this song is that Monique Fraley is singing backup on this song.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
That
that.
is the best part of this song. I truly believe you have to be high or drunk to listen to this song. I truly believe that. I don't know what it is, but it's a crackpot song that really Ace singing about dolls. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Like I
The
said, I was laughing during the whole song because I'd listened to it in a long time, and I mean, for the style of song that he was obviously going for, to me, it almost felt like, what can I do that sounds like 2000 Man? What can I got to do a goofball song too. To me, it sounds like he actually had a purpose for this song.
we all know, or we all should know, I'm a goofball. So
I can relate.
I believe Monique is 8 or 9 years old in this song. So when you put that all together, you come up with a perspective that he might have wrote the song for Monique and her
Well, yeah,
dolls,
I would say so.
in which case he gets a little bit of a pass. And I have to admit, and I might be stupid because I do have a thing for Monique, in case anybody wondered. Ace, I love you, but I like her a lot too. She sounds good. She sounds good. I thought she sounds good.
I think if you take the song for what it is, like I don't think he was trying to make a statement or be very serious. If you take it for what it is, I think it's a very well again produced. It's a very well produced song, and I found it enjoyable and entertaining sense. And that brings us to "Stranger in a Strange Land." Ace Frehley does the writing and singing on this. What do you got for "Stranger in a Strange Land"?
I think it's another solid song with great musicianship. I think it fits Ace's voice. The guitars fit in seamlessly. This is a well produced broken record with a great melodic solo, and then Ace adds some shredding to it. I think it's another good song. I've heard this song killed on other album reviews. I can't figure out why anybody's killing this song. It's not the best song on this
Oh,
album.
it's a
It's
good tune
not
though.
the worst song on this album. And I think it's a good, solid song.
I mean, for the amount of pressure that Ace had to come through with an album like this, and it had to be successful. I mean, I felt like he had a pretty close, not complete, but he had a pretty close to complete album. Instrumentals are not always people's cup of tea, but the continuation of Fractured Mirror, I thought was very appropriate with Fractured number two. I love both of them, and they're definitely ones on my bucket list to learn. Uh, complete. And I don't know, just some people want the most powerful, aggressive ending song to an album, but I kind of like the way he does with his solo album and this album, how he kind of ends it with the instrumental flow at the end. So it kind of works for me.
I hate instrumentals, but not when Ace does them.
Yeah.
This is a great song, just with no words. This song takes me on an adventure, just like Fractured Mirror did.
Yeah.
Again, the production, the structure are spot on. And this is quite literally music to my ears. He took from Fractured Mirror and tried to improve on it. Now, 99% of the Ace Frehley fans out there, because this is everybody is going to say Fractured Mirror is better. I'm not sure whether it's better or it's not. I think he builds off
I
of
yeah,
Fractured Mirror and on the Fractured
I
too.
put them together.
Yeah, I think they're both great instrumentals. I'm gonna guess that these are my two favorite instrumentals ever. Usually on an instrumental, there's a guitar player shredding, or there's a drummer breaking into drum solos. No, this is just
I,
chill.
I
It almost has a Pink Floyd feel.
That's actually a really good comparison. Yeah. I mean, Metallica did it with S&M. There's some good stuff on S&M too, but it's not that, as again, we're going into the orchestra land, so you don't want to go there. But the Pink Floyd reference is good. I mean, um, again, I felt like it was an appropriate way to end it. I think Ace came through with a great album with all that expectation and build up for it. Yeah, and the other thing about this, it makes me think back to that time again, the 80s, right? It's definitely an 80s centric album, and it makes you think back to the 80s. And again, I have many memories of waiting in line and the suspense and waiting for that album. And this was definitely one of those where I had to be at Sam Goody. It's getting released. It's going to be out, and you had to wait in line to try to pick up the latest album that came out. And I remember getting it, and I remember listening to it cover to cover over and over and over again. Not only because of the buildup, but because the album was really good. I mean, you can't get excited to listen to the rest of the songs after you can't not get excited to listen to the rest of the songs after listening to Rock Soldiers. Talk about a song that completely sets it up.
Yeah, if you were a KISS fan or an Ace Frehley fan back in 1987 and you weren't ecstatic to get this album and put it on, I would say you're not a KISS fan or an Ace Frehley fan.
All right, set list. So this is August 2nd, 1988, Frehleys Comet set list at Kiefer Uno Lakefront Arena in New Orleans. He starts out with Rocket Ride. Then he does Cold Gin, New York Groove, Rock Soldiers, Breakout, Something Moved, Insane, Shock Me, Juvenile Delinquent, and ends with It's Over Now.
Wow, Into the Night was out of the set list.
I don't get that. Yeah, I don't get that.
Then.
You're right. That's probably a number one question. We get Ace on the podcast. That's the number one question we're gonna ask him.
Dude, I'm telling you, I bet you I've called in the Eddie Trunk show 3 or 4 times trying to get on with Ace. I've called Eddie Trunk show when Ace wasn't on, asking Eddie Trunk because he was involved in and around when this record was made, just wondering, like, can Ace not sing it? Does Ace not like the song? I know from stories that there was a real push to go get a Russ Ballard song. Like, somebody brought Into the Night to Ace and said, you should do this song. And it does not sound like New York Groove. Maybe it has the same feel, but I wouldn't think it has the same feel either.
The production value of it is freaking great. The intro, the constant guitar riff throughout the song, like it's a great song.
Yeah, it's just never a song Ace ever played live, and it's the one song that I want to hear Ace play live. I think there's one. I think there's one video, and it's a bad video on YouTube of Ace playing it live. That's all that exists.
The only thing I could think of is a lot of Ace's music is him kind of like he has a very unique vocal style of like almost kind of speaking as he's singing. And
Hmm.
the only thing I can think of with Into the Night, there's certain points where it's more singing. Maybe he just doesn't feel comfortable singing enough on stage. Maybe he doesn't feel like it's a good stage song for him. But I don't know. I like I said, it's one of my favorite all-time songs of his.
Wrap up.
Okay, so for me, and I've said this every time we do, from when we finish doing the actual Kiss studio albums and everything. For me, I this has been a good experience for me. Like I've been looking forward to this. I haven't listened to Frehleys Comet. I got to be honest, none of these songs in a long time. And it was fun listening to this album again, especially after learning how to critique and going through the other albums of Kiss, and then going into this with that same kind of mindset and really dissecting the songs as best we could. I found it really neat because I mean, this is not a complete album. There's a couple songs that could have been a little bit better, but I'd say he's got a solid 89%. I mean, this it's a really, really good album.
A solid 89%.
Well, you don't like Dolls, right? You don't consider Dolls a great song. Like Dolls may bring it down a little bit, even though I like the song. I mean, and Fractured and Instrumental. Like if you have two more, say you go do you he added a Rip It Out and like a Shock Me type or something like that instead of those two songs. I mean, it's a perfect album.
See, my problem with instrumentals usually is they take away from the album. Like I usually look at instrumentals like why are you putting that there? Give me another song with lyrics.
And I like the instrumental. I think it's appropriate. But my point is that
With Fractured, I think it adds to the mystique of the album. That may sound goofy to people,
I like it a
but
lot.
I think it adds to it. I mean,
I only said that like it. Would you consider like this is going to be a really kind of an effed up kind of comparison? But if you had to pick a song, Rip It Out or Fractured, and you had to pick one, which one would you have on an album?
I'd pick Rip It Out.
That's the only reason I say that because he's singing, it's aggressive, it's a rock. But I'm saying like if you like the vibe of what Ace is and the theme that he's going through, he puts a nice little bow on the end of it with each one of the with Fractured. So
Here's probably the biggest question for you, and also the biggest question for all the hooligans out there. Out of all the members of KISS that have done a solo album, what's the best one?
the 78 Ace Frehley solo album. It's one of my favorite rock albums.
What's the second best one?
And it's neck and neck between Frehley. Well, it's not being fair. I didn't listen to Union. Honestly, Frehleys Comet is neck and neck with Paul's.
It is. If it was me, Ace's 78 solo album comes in at number one. Fraley's Comet's first album comes in at number two, and Paul Stanley is right behind it, but number three.
You just got your poll. You got your next new poll.
I have my next new poll actually. Oh, I might have to write that down. We've done a lot of these album reviews, but this is one of the most enjoyable ones. Now, I'm a little different than you. This album is in my regular rotation. I don't listen to every song a lot, but I do listen to Into the Night, Rock Soldiers, Breakout, Stranger in a Strange Land, and Fractured 2. I listen to them often.
Fraley's Comet and Creatures of the Night have something in common. Creatures of the Night I hadn't listened to in a long time, and it broke the seal, and I haven't been able to stop listening to it. So I'm going to say that Fraley's Comet is probably going to be the same thing. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. Now the seal's been broken. I'm probably going to be listening to a lot of the, especially Rock Soldiers. Rock Soldiers is such an awesome tune.
At least in my world, with an older brother who was a huge Ace Frehley fan, there was a whole build up.
Didn't he paint sneakers silver?
Of course he did. Yeah, he did all that freaky shit that he probably won't admit to now, but he did all of that. And You know, still to this day, I don't think I've ever come across what I remember as a bigger Ace Frehley fan than my brother was.
Well, Vinny's a
I mean,
close second for him.
and I do believe Vinny is probably a close second. You know, if we could get him on this show, we could all find out together. But you know, that's like, I don't know. He's holding out for more than Skittles and jelly beans. I guess that's his
Well,
problem.
bro, if you're waiting for compensation, it's gonna be a while.
Oh yeah, you want compensate? Hey, if you want compensation, you can have a coffee cup if you come on the show. Okay, that I can't do you anything better than a coffee cup. Oh, I'll fill the coffee cup with jelly beans and Skittles if you want. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like him, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button, just like him, so you don't miss any future episodes. And check out these episodes right up here somewhere. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, we are all rock soldiers in the KISS Army and Hooligan Nation. If it's too loud, you're too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.